So welcome back to my channel Towards AI. So here today I'm going to talk about supervised learning and particularly linear regression. So moving on. So before moving on, I would like you to get familiar with some notation. So M over here is a number of training examples. X is an input variable or feature. Y is a output variable or target variable. And x to the power I and y to the power I is a training example, ith training example, and x is our hypothesis. So guys, we have the training set. We have our training set, and we pass the training set to some learning algorithm, and that learning algorithm give us some hypothesis. Okay, so using this hypothesis, now we can predict the estimated value of y for our certain value of x. So in this example, consider the value of x. Consider the x is the size of house and y is the estimated price. So this is the basic intuition of linear regression. So you might wonder what is that hypothesis. Okay. Consider this graph where I plotted the different data, and now consider this graph where I drew a red line like that, and I'm gonna represent our hypothesis as h of x is equal to theta naught plus theta 1 x, where theta 1 naught and theta 1 are the parameter, and that red line over there is our hypothesis. So what I mean is, so if you want to predict the value of y for certain x, then we can easily predict the value of y using that line or that hypothesis. Suppose, so consider our x is 3, then we want to predict the value of y for that x. So by using this hypothesis or this red line, we can easily predict the value of y that is near 6.6, near 6.6. So I don't think this is that hard to understand. Just need that hypothesis to predict the y. Okay, so what do you so you only need that hypothesis so in order to predict the value of y for a given x. So why don't we discuss how to get that hypothesis. Okay, moving on. You might heard about the cost function. Okay, so in this video I will make it clear what that cost function really is. Consider this data set, and we know our hypothesis is h of x is equals to theta naught plus theta 1 x, and if you want to predict the value of x, value of y, want to predict the value of y, that is our that is this hypothesis. If you want to predict, if you want to find the value of h of x or predict the value of y, so we use the value of x, given value of x from the table, and predict the y. So just use the value of x over here in this formula and get the value of y, predicted value of y. But the question is how to choose the theta. Okay. And the question may arise, why do we even need to choose the theta? For this, consider this graph where I consider the theta naught equals to 1.5 and theta 1 equals to 0. So if you consider the theta naught and theta 1 is shown over here, then our hypothesis will be this red line, which is h of x equals to 1.5 plus 0 into x. Okay, now consider this graph where I consider theta naught equals to 0 and theta 1 equals to 0.5, and then our hypothesis will be represented by this blue line, which is 0.5 into x. Okay, now then consider this graph and consider theta naught equals to 1 and theta 1 equals to 0.5. Then that gray line over there will be our hypothesis, which is 1 plus 0.5 into x. So you can see by changing the value of theta, we get the different hypothesis. So for the same value of x, the value of y will be different in all of these three graphs. So we need to choose the theta very wisely. So in order to choose the theta, we first define our cost function. The cost function is given as j of theta naught and theta 1 equals to 1 by 2m summation from I to m hypothesis minus actual value to the power 2. Okay, this is our cost function, and we're gonna choose the theta naught and theta 1 so that our hypothesis is close to y for our training examples. What I mean is, we choose the theta naught and theta 1 so that this function, this cost function, will get minimized. So this cost function will get minimized. Okay. And this cost function is also known as the squared error function. So now let's talk more about the cost function and what the cost function actually is. So consider this graph. Over here, the blue line represents our hypothesis and the point lies on that blue lines are the predicted value of y, so all the points. Okay, and this circle over here represents the actual value of y, and this orange line over here, this is the distance between the actual value and the predicted value. So now what we're gonna do is we add all those distances shown over here, this orange line, black line, blue line, yellow line, green line. So we're gonna add all of them. So first take the orange line, black one, blue one, yellow one, light green, dark blue, and then dark green. So we add all of the distance and we square the resulting output and we take the average. So that's our cost function. So this is our hypothesis and this is our actual value. So we add all of them and we square them and we take the average. I hope you now got the idea what is cost function, and I hope you also got the idea why the cost function also called a squared error function. So for a simplicity, consider theta naught equals to 0 for this graph and the coming graph. And now for theta 1, we consider theta 1 equals to 0, so over here. So theta 1 equals to 0. Now we draw our hypothesis line, this one. We draw our hypothesis line and we calculate our cost function over here. So j of 1, so the 1 over here is the theta 1, sorry. So j of 1 equals to 0. We calculate our cost function and we find our cost function equals to 0. So we plot that point in this graph against the theta 1. So this is our point. Similarly, for this graph, again consider theta naught equals to 0 for simplicity and theta 1 equals to 0.5. And for this theta 1, we calculate the value of cost function. We get is 0.68, and we again plot that point in this graph. Okay, and again consider this one. Now the theta 1 equals to 0, and I calculated the value of j of 0 equals to 2.3, and again I plotted that point in this graph. So after plotting all the points, then we connect those points. So this parabola line over here, this parabola represents the connected point. Okay, and this point over this concave point, always lie the minimum j of theta or minimum cost function. So if you want to find the theta which minimizes the cost function, then we can find the corresponding theta for this point, for this j of theta. So now we should able to find that we should able to find that theta which minimize our cost function. So for that we use the gradient descent algorithm. So till now we know that our hypothesis is theta naught plus theta 1x, and our cost function is shown over here, and we know our aim is to minimize the j of theta. So start with some theta naught and theta 1 and keep changing the value of theta naught and theta 1 to reduce the j of theta naught, theta 1 until we hopefully end up at the minimum. So over here the theta naught and theta 1 is just the parameter. Okay, I'm just symbolizes that I am using two parameters. That's it. So this is the 3D visualization of cost function over the theta. Pause the video if you need. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so this is our cost function j of theta naught comma theta 1, and we want that cost function to be minimum, and we want to find the theta which minimizes this cost function. So here's the thing, if you guys have the calculus background, you might already got an idea how to do this. Yeah, we derivate this cost function, so we use the derivation over here. So the gradient descent algorithm is repeat until convergence, theta of j equals to theta of j minus alpha partial derivation of this cost function. Okay. So after doing the partial derivation, we get this is our final output. So this is our final gradient descent algorithm. Okay, and the alpha over there is a learning rate. We'll see what that learning rate is. Okay, moving on. So consider the gradient descent algorithm. Okay, and consider this graph over here where cost function is in the y-axis and theta 1 is in the x-axis. So let's talk about the learning rate. Okay, learning rate alpha. So some of you might already have this question, why are we using the alpha in the first place? I really appreciate that question. So you will get to know why this alpha is really doing over here. So consider the alpha is too small, then our gradient descent can be slow. So what does that mean? It means that if the alpha is too small, then our learning algorithm will take a little baby steps so as to get the minimum. So consider this visualization. As you can see, our learning algorithm is taking that baby step so as to get the minimum j of theta. Okay, so what if the alpha is too large? Then the gradient descent can overshoot the minimum. It may fail to converge or even diverge. So what does that overshoot mean? Okay, so again I consider this graph. I plotted some data. Okay, please look this visualization very carefully. I think you got some intuition about the learning rate alpha, and it is used to control the speed of our algorithm. So some of you might even say we need to decrease alpha over time so that we do not overshoot the minimum. I really appreciate that question. Okay, so again consider this graph. Okay, first consider this graph and consider the visualization. Look the visualization very carefully. So the gradient descent can converge to the local minimum even if the alpha is fixed. As you approach the local minimum, as you already saw the visualization, the gradient descent will automatically take the smaller step. So no need to decrease the alpha over time. Okay, there's just a little recap. This is our cost function j of theta, and this is our gradient descent algorithm, and this is our hypothesis. So the main goal is to find this hypothesis so that we can predict the value of y. So in order to find this hypothesis, we need the theta, and we need to choose that theta wisely. So how do we choose that theta wisely? So we first define our cost function. So the theta which minimizes that cost function will be our final theta. So and how do we get that theta? We repeat until convergence, and we use this gradient descent algorithm so as to find the theta which minimizes the cost function. So I hope you understood the cost function gradient descent algorithm. If you guys want to know more about the gradient descent, you can actually read an article from medium.com. So if you still have trouble understanding the cost function and gradient descent, I recommend you to watch this video again. And still you are having problem, please mention in the comment section. I will make a new video on gradient descent where I might probably spend half an hour explaining the gradient descent. Okay guys, if you remember in the first lecture of this video series, I gave you one question to solve on your own. So for question is, of the following example, which would you address using an unsupervised learning algorithm? The first one is given an email labeled as spam or not, learn a spam filter. So this is our classification problem of supervised learning. And the next one is given a set of news articles found on a web, group them into a set of articles about the same story. So this is the clustering problem. So this is the unsupervised learning. So this one is unsupervised learning. And given a data set of customer data, database of the customer data automatically discover the market segment, group the customers into the different market segments. So again, this is the clustering example. So this is unsupervised learning. And the last one is given a data set of the patient diagnosed as either having diabetes or not, learn to classify the new patient as having diabetes or not. So this is our classification problem of supervised learning. Okay, in the next video I will be using the gradient descent algorithm to code linear regression on the Python 3. Hope you guys liked my video. If so, give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon so that you will be notified whenever I made the new video. Have a good day.